Finally here, after months of waiting and years of development hell, The Dark Tower has arrived. As a fan of the book series, I was eagerly awaiting this movie since the moment Idris Elba was cast. So how is it?
You're a gunslinger, right?
There are no gunslingers.
It's bad. It's so bad. This has been a rough year for things that I love.
In the arms of the angel, fly away from here, from this dark hotel room and the endlessness.
It's not a particularly terrible movie. It's no Jack and Jill. It's more like The Host. And if you're wondering, what's The Host? Exactly. The Dark Tower is really a mediocre young adult fantasy movie with no style, substance, or heart. Seeing as the movie is such a radical departure from the books, I'm going to openly compare plot points from the book series. Let's start out with the tone of the movie. As much as I've always wanted to see a screen adaptation of The Dark Tower, I've kind of considered the book unfilmable. So much of the world and character building is done through the narration of the book. The style is so key to the series that any film is going to lose that. It's the same trepidation I have about the developing adaptation of Snow Crash. If you lose that voice, if you lose that tone, you lose the whole movie. We were never going to get a faithful adaptation of The Dark Tower, but I figured that maybe we could get a good reimagining of the story. I was actually pleased when they said that it was going to be a sequel because I thought they could safely move away from the books and show their own tale. But the movie loses that unique style. It just doesn't feel right. The second problem is the actual plot, specifically how it rushes things. Now, the movie is only 93 minutes long, but doesn't necessarily mean it's automatically bad. The movie is inspired by the first book, The Gunslinger, but it also uses elements from books 3, 4, and 7. Now, I understand the need to make a movie with a satisfactory ending. The Gunslinger closes with a man in black and Roland having a conversation. It sets up Roland's quest to come, and it ends with this exciting sequel hook. But the movie wraps it up too quickly, and I mean completely wraps it up.
I will kill him for both of us.
The overarching plot of the Dark Tower saga, the whole point is that Roland is trying to find the Dark Tower, that nexus between all possible universes, so that he can stop the Crimson King from destroying it. And it takes him 7 books to even get to the Dark Tower. One of, if not the climax of the saga, is Roland and his group arriving at Devar Toy, the location of the tower. In the books, this is a major moment of Roland's quest. The whole series has built up to this. And it's the first thing we see in the movie.
The tower protects both our worlds. If it falls, hell will be unleashed.
In fact, the climax of the movie is Roland destroying Devar Toy, something that doesn't happen until the end of the 7th book. Within 90 minutes, he solves the entire quest of the saga. I cannot overstate how wrong this is, so let me put it in a way that other nerds might understand. Imagine if in the very first Harry Potter movie, Harry discovers and destroys all of Voldemort's Horcruxes. Imagine if in the first Lord of the Rings movie, Sam and Frodo get to Mordor. The conflict is solved. Where would you go after this? Now, the upcoming TV series is going to be about Roland's backstory, which I'm honestly still excited for, but I don't know how the movies could go on. Thirdly, let's talk about the characters, specifically Jake Chambers. In the first book, Roland encounters Jake, a person from our world that's wound up in Roland's world. He doesn't show up until about 2/3 of the way into the first book, and furthermore, he dies in the climax soon after. It's a serious moment where Roland lets Jake die so that he can further his chase of the Man in Black. That's a big character point for Roland, and it's an event that has profound repercussions to the rest of the series after Roland brings an alternate universe Jake back. But here in this movie, Jake lives. You don't have that moment. You don't have that telling piece of character for Roland. Additionally, I'm not so keen on Jake as a protagonist. Now, fair point. Since we don't have the book's narration to explain the world for us, we need an audience surrogate. Jake works okay for that, but it's not Jake's story. It's not Jake's quest. In fact, Jake doesn't really have much of an arc in the books, and he has less of one here. That being said, Idris Elba is great as Roland. I'm a little sad that he's not going to be in the prequel series, because he totally brings it as the gunslinger. He has that world weariness, and that sense of quiet intensity that is Roland. Matthew McConaughey is decent as the Man in Black. He doesn't get a whole lot of his major character development in this book, and furthermore, he's a bit distracting. He's a lot like Mark Wahlberg or Jennifer Lawrence in that they never quite disappear into their roles. It's painfully obvious that it's Matthew McConaughey all the way through. Overall, the movie is weak and disappointing. It's not the adaptation we wanted, and it's not a good standalone movie. And it wastes a lot of the potential in the story, in the source, in the actors. I'll still see the TV series, and maybe I'll give the next movie a shot, but I fear that the tower has already fallen on this franchise.